welcome to the Smart Customer Spotlight podcast, which is where we invite industry experts to join us in shining light on today's business landscape and elevating your brand. I'm Sybil Chan from SiteJabber, and today I'm so excited to introduce today's special guest, Arianna Cignarale, CEO and co-founder of Nomad Marketing. So Ari is all about staying at the forefront of all things marketing, making marketing operations accessible, and keeping her employees and clients happy. So, Ari, it's great to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to share insights and chat it up.
Yeah, same here. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, how you got started, what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm the CEO of Nomad. I was internal in marketing and sales operations. I was in-house and I was bored. I felt like once we made our systems into a well-oiled machine, I could no longer be that problem solver, be investigatory. And that's what my favorite part of marketing operations was and sales operations. And I would find myself just taking demos of products just because I was bored and I wanted to see them rather than actually having the budget. So I apologize in advance, salespeople. I know a lot of people do that anyways too when they're also in-house. And what I also noticed that was marketing and sales technology, being in-house, you're really limited because you're limited to the budget. There just need to be a better way. So what I ended up doing, my co-founder and I, we started our own consulting firm and decided that we needed a community of marketing and sales operation experts that wanted to see everything, do everything, and just really grow and learn. Therefore, we take demos of all products and partner with all products so we can be the best and utilize this technology and really be at the forefront of the movement of technology, engineering, and everything in between. Right. But really our mission is that Nomad is a full marketing and sales operations consulting firm. We're based in New York City. We're 100% in person. We're not remote. Our goal is to be collaborative, work together, and truly push what's possible in marketing technology and sales technology. We're also operated on a flat monthly rate. I noticed when I first started consulting that there was a guard between our clients and having bad taste in their mouth when working with consulting firms because solutions would just be overcomplicated, over-engineered. There was this methodology that you needed to have them be reliant on you. And I think clients could feel it and it just needed to change. That's why we were making also a client-centric business where you can truly just focus on being really good at marketing and sales operations, join the team and not have that tension of, oh, they're joining more meetings. 2 people are joining meetings. Does that mean I'm going to get double hour counted? Mm-hmm. And it became more relationship based the minute we got rid of that hour counting and they knew that they were going to get the same invoice every month and know that the work's going to be done and they can truly count on us and trust us. And that was really missing in consulting when I first started. I felt like I spent almost 3 years just trying to remove bad tastes in people's mouths regarding consulting firms. We wanted to make a hub for people like us that wanted to learn and solve for problems all the time. And we also wanted to join companies' teams seamlessly and have that trust. Mm-hmm. So that's Nomad. And we're truly pushing what's possible in consulting, changing the marketing operations and sales operations communities. We are the largest in-person team probably in the country. And when you work with a team at Nomad, you're working with the whole company. And I think our clients are seeing that.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, great point because your founding story really pulled out a specific pain point that you kept hearing from people, right? Like the whole, consultancy fee and just random extra budget that would pop up and, to what end? Like people are not getting, answers. They're just getting more questions or more problems. So yeah, that's a great, great point. And it's really cool that you were able to build this huge in-person team to address this.
Exactly. And it's just like, when I first started, I was like, I don't know if I can, this is going to be an uphill battle. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And despite the mission of wanting a group of marketing and sales operations people that were in-house and they wanted to geek out with people like marketing operations nerds, and you really are limited to like a team of 1 to 2. So it's like this was like a hub for people that love marketing and sales operations, and they love learning and growing. And we wanted that so badly, but it was such an uphill battle. I was like, do I build a product, or do I like double down and make it this consulting firm? Which is why we kind of did both in a sense, where we modeled our business to be a subscription model like the products that we were working with. And so we're mirroring a lot of our clients' business models, but we're doing it in a consulting way. They know what they're getting. And I've noticed like some of our competitors, they tried it too. I don't know as good, but I think they saw what we were doing and they're like, okay, maybe this does make sense. I don't know, I guess how we feel about like, what is it like copying is the best form of flattery, but but I do think putting clients' needs first is important. And I think it's truly like maybe the only way that we can fix consulting.
Yeah. So clearly you're pioneering a new, I guess, era of consulting. Yeah, just putting together people who are passionate about, the technologies and, learning more in sales and marketing. Yeah, it just sounds like a really, really cool business model. Really exciting. That being said, I would want to ask though, so that's kind of like where you started and, your business model, the new, type of consulting firm. So looking ahead to the next coming year, what do you have on tap? Like, what are you most excited about? What's to come?
Amazing. Oh yeah. You know what? I guess we forgot to position that. I went down another rabbit hole. So one of the things that Nomad does, basically we join teams, the marketing or sales side, but predominantly we work with a lot of CMOs, VP of marketing, demand gen, product marketers. And we speak to about like 100 different points of contact every day. And one thing about having a consulting firm and being out of house is that you can get perspectives on what marketing teams are doing, best practices in marketing. And we all listen to what our clients are doing. We sync back, we collaborate, we hear, oh, that's a really good idea. This client's doing this, and this client's dropping this kind of nurture stream to move to something else. And it's been really nice because we have exposure into about 100 different B2B marketing companies and how they're planning for 2024. And also we got to look at the trends of 2023 and decide like, did that make sense? Is it working? And I think that's really awesome about being out of house is you get to have so much more exposure, and then you can apply that exposure to other clients. And when they ask like, hey, what are some of your other clients doing? Like, is this best practice? Like, what do you think? We're prepared with answers. And I know that's like definitely why we're chatting today, is talking about the trends, what we saw in 2023, looking back, are we going to apply it to 2024?
Exactly. So I know huge trends in 2023, the past year or two is account-based marketing. So you're basically right there seeing it evolve, seeing people implement it across different industries or your different sized clients. So yeah, how have you seen ABM evolve in terms of, say, intent marketing, tools, impact, things like that?
Of course. Yeah. So I definitely think 2023 was the platform wars of account-based marketing. It was like a race to who's going to be the best. There was like demand-based, Sixth Sense, which was like the hot new product on the market. Triblio came in, and then Terminus was like, hey, we were the first. And I felt like when I went to the B2B marketing exchange in Scottsdale in February, that was the talk. Everyone wanted to talk about how ABM and AI are going to collaborate and what's going to be next. Now that everyone has adopted one of these platforms, what's next for us? And it felt like it was like the evolution of these 4 platforms, deciding, okay, now that everyone's adopting ABM, how can we stand out and use our technology and evolve our technology to also be the best platform, but also help everybody now that we decided spray and pray isn't going to work anymore. What I've noticed is that we're going to spend X amount of money. We're going to really decide these target accounts are who we need to reach out to. They are our whales. We're going to go whale hunting, and that's our list. And I noticed companies were doing that for like 2 years, and it didn't feel right to me. So like I felt like ABM was missing something, because it's like, why is this your list? What if they have like a 5-year agreement with another company? If they're not going to just switch over and And it felt like that list was super static. Like, why can't it change? Why can't you work different leads and get more people to come to this list? The reason and intent behind the list felt a little lacking for me. And I think a lot of companies were like, if this isn't really working, we're just going to keep picking these X amount of companies and targeting them. So what I've also noticed now is the use of intent data and the use of these platforms that show the intent and deciding, okay, maybe these lists can switch over and it can be a warmer type outreach where it's not just, okay, we're just going to pick these companies and go for them. Now it's like, okay, we have this list and we can monitor who's actually on the site and searching for our platforms and solutions that we can solve for. So I find that using the intent data is making this ABM strategy move smoothly and be more successful. And it can change because you're like, all right, these people are actually really searching hard. They're interested. We can make personalized outreach, use AI, get that personalization to be 100% like ready to go, use the intent, and then really make that strategy and hone it. And the pool has gone from like this to now like, all right, let's like really just create these segmentations, hone in on the strategy, and make this the most personalized outreach that we've ever had. And then on the other hand, like something I've just been noticing in general is cold outreach isn't working. The use of BDRs, that outreach, that meeting setting, I think it's having the lowest success rates of all time. I'm not really seeing much movement when it comes to BDR outreach at all. So we need to come up with new ideas of how to use our ABM strategy, intent strategy, and loop in those BDRs. But that's definitely something we're going to talk about later.
Definitely. Yeah. Do you think like people are just, I don't know, burnt out a little bit with the inundation of cold outreach? And, people do try to, just add a little personalization, customize it a little bit. And the customization you see is maybe just the job role. And it's not even the exact job role. Like it's not even accurate, because the data wasn't perfect. So yeah, I think people are definitely moving to, better intent, use of that intent data, and more true personalization. So in terms of that, like, can you think of any, standout brands or like campaigns that are demonstrating like the best practice of using ABM?
Yes. So in terms of intent data, and using like Zoom info, it used to be like 2 years ago, it was like a list, a database enrichment and list uploads and pulling all of that data and users and just acquiring users really with no merit. I think everyone's switching over. So now Zoom Info has added the intent feature. And then we have Lucia. Lucia is a really good cost-effective intent data situation where you can really look at the intent and it's like 4,000, I think, for the year. So if companies are operating on a lower budget, you can loop in a cost-effective solution like Lucia. Obviously, 6sense, they're not even calling themselves ABM anymore. They're like AI-powered intent. So obviously, I think they're leading the forefront. We also have a really interesting player that no one's really talking about yet, Channel 99. A lot of the team came from Demandbase, and now they're developing this new platform. And Channel 99 is awesome. They're a client of ours, and now we've become their client. They are showing so many insights into movement of anyone that works at the company that is accessing your website and what are they doing and what are they searching. And that is going to create so much room for targeted outreach, whether the outreach is redirects on marketing, seeing what they're looking for. So then we can make our redirects pain point centric or product centric. I see Channel 99 making a big impact on marketing teams. It's really going to change strategy. It's going to make that personalization key. And I think that's going to be the next move. You just have so much visibility into what people are doing on your website, what they're interested in. And the minute you get to see that, you can write an email in 2 seconds of how we can fix your problem. And or which case studies to send them. Is the B2B company that we work with of 100,000 people the right case study to send a company that is 50 people. It's like, no, I'm going to pick that case study. We can just start really opening the door of communication in a way that isn't creepy, but it's like, hey, I know what you're looking for, and here are some examples that we can solve.
Mm-hmm. So, any advice for making that sort of personalization and using that intent, creating messaging that doesn't come across as creepy?
I always like to do things a little differently. What if we just acknowledge that we all use this technology? What if we just say like, hey, I know you're looking at us. I did bring that up with the marketing team once. I think it was my marketing team. And everyone's like, maybe that's not the key. But I think always going solution focused or pain point focused seems to be the way to go. It resonates with people. And okay, so yeah, we're not saying we know you're looking at us, but we're like, hey, you are clearly expressing interest in solutions for what you're experiencing. This is how we can solve it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little graham cracker crumb of like, I kind of know that you're looking at us, but if you go solution focused, pain point focused, that seems to always be like time and true, the best emails that resonate with people when it is cold outreach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're going to segue into, something that I'm sure is at the forefront of a lot of marketing teams' minds, and, budget optimization. A lot of people may be thinking, oh, economic landscape, people aren't spending as much. Everyone's cutting back on budgets. Marketing teams are even shrinking. And, that's kind of like a fear that may be, in several businesses' minds. But, so what would you say is your perspective on, say, navigating these, economic downturns, ensuring businesses can make the most out of their budget? And then something that I wanted to touch into is also, how you can benefit from attribution models and software and how that plays into helping people make the most out of their budgets.
This is actually one of my favorite topics. I think back in the day, about like 10 years ago, I was watching this one company spend $200,000 on a trade show and then just pass us the list, and there were no notes. And then the next month was another trade show that was $50,000, and then another trade show that was like $100,000, and then these lists had no context. I kept looking at the list and I was like, what is going on here? And I just didn't understand how much money was being spent by our marketing team just to show up at these trade shows and not actually get an imprint of who the salespeople were speaking with, who had the meaningful conversations. Were they teachers? Were they buyers? Did it matter? So one thing the CMO asked me to just go to the trade show and look at it. Mm-hmm. And when I noticed the interactions at the trade show, it was people just walking around and getting swag. Mm-hmm. And the people that were working the trade show was like, hey, do you want this amazing bag of popcorn? All we need is a badge scan. And that's not it. That's just not the way to use marketing budget. It's literally lighting your money on fire. And then everyone gets these badge scan lists, and what are we supposed to do with them? They're not interested. They wanted the popcorn. They're like, this is so stupid. They're not our buyers.
Expressing intent for popcorn, not intent for your software or your product.
Yeah. It's like, has to be a better way to do this. And it just didn't sit right. And I think now with the economy as it is today and COVID affecting so many in-person events and trade shows, and then everybody getting their budget slashed, it was like, all right, we need a new way of operating. And if we're going to events, they need to matter. They need to count. We need to have the best conversations possible. And that kind of prep work needs to happen. So trade shows is one example of just something that has been going on for years. And then all of a sudden it got slashed in half. And but they also weren't making any money. I couldn't tell you how many leads from trade shows that I imported and saw any sort of attribution to the deals that closed. And we'll get into attribution models in a second, but it is one of those situations where I've noticed that, first of all, we didn't need them, right? We didn't need trade shows for like 2 years in COVID. And then when they reopened the doors, it was like, okay, do we actually need this again? Mm-hmm. And then if we do, and we're going to spend this amount of money, what do we do with it? So I think maximizing marketing budgets in the sense is, okay, we have payroll, we have marketers. What can we be doing differently when we attend a conference, host a conference, and really investing your time in the in the prep work? It costs nothing from the company standpoint, right? Because we're asking the marketing team to prepare and work with the sales team. So it's like, all right, use technology. If someone is having a really great conversation at this meeting, put it into your marketing automation platform, your CRM, and make notes and configure it in the way that makes sense, utilizing the technology you have. And your marketing operations team should be helping you with this. If your marketing operations team isn't in the conversation for the event prep work and they're not joining in on how they can help you utilize the technology that's currently in your tech stack to get the right imprint on when you're speaking to these really good prospects that are costing your team money, something's going seriously wrong. The marketing operations team should not be just receiving the list. That's not the way that it should be working when it comes to events. And then if they are receiving the list, they should already have prepared everybody for the notes section to write the notes down. So they sync into your CRM, and then the salespeople can actually conversate with those leads and have real talking points. Or we send it to the prospect. We send the prospect to the sales rep that was speaking with them. Keep that rapport and have them intro, even if there's like a territory situation, have them at least intro to the right rep. So that's something that is really effective. It costs no money just to be prepared. And a lot of companies leave the marketing operations team out when they are the biggest player to get you the most out of your investment. Another thing I noticed back in the day, I would watch companies just throw technologies and cash at the problem. And it just wasn't the right thing to do. And I think that was another thing that Nomad really works on, is operating on a lean model. We're trying to get you the most out of your marketing technology and sales technology infrastructure without throwing products. And if you learn how to use the products right, you can do the most with your technology instead of throwing things at it, because it's like utilizing just one platform instead of 3 different ones, and knowing that they have the features and getting an expert in there can really maximize your marketing budget. Another thing I've also watched is that these companies know that you're doing this too. So now a lot of companies are acquiring companies that they couldn't solve for themselves. So we have like Salesforce buys everything because they just want to get everyone to just stay in Salesforce. They can keep discounting. And honestly, it's not a bad play. And like, if you are a Salesforce user, chances are you're going to have Pardot for a fraction of the price of any other company that is a Salesforce user and then is using like a Marketo or a HubSpot. But then, I mean, Salesforce just wants you to like be on their products all the time. But I think a lot of companies are following that model. We have HubSpot acquiring Clearbit. HubSpot couldn't solve for what Clearbit could, so they threw it on. The pattern is that these companies now are acquiring systems because people don't want to just keep throwing tools at the problem. It's expensive. The implementation fee is expensive. And if you could just keep it all in one spot, the retention will stay up. You're basically have your entire system within a HubSpot or a Salesforce. So chances of you leaving and ripping it out are slim to none. It keeps customer retention, which is always the low-hanging fruit. If people aren't focusing on customer retention, it's the best way to keep growing and keeping your sales steady. Attribution modeling is one of my favorite topics to talk about. A, because it's rarely done right. And B, I have just seen the movement of people finally wanting it. They want the data. They want to work with marketing and sales. They want everybody to work together. And that has been an issue since I started my career in marketing and sales. Attribution needs to get both the marketing and sales team to work together to develop a process and decide, okay, when marketing is going to send something over, sales must accept it, open an opportunity, and truly work that opportunity and have that full visibility. That also means the marketing team can go into the CRM. They can watch the flow of the lead that they spent their time generating and building, and then see it flow through the opportunity. And then now it's the attribution isn't just marketing created. The attribution modeling needs to be marketing influenced. It doesn't just stop when marketing sends a lead to sales. There's so much more. And when you're building attribution models now, companies have adopted that you have to work together. And that is getting sales and marketing to work together is one of the craziest problems I seem to just really struggle with when they don't want to.
Mm.
And I never understand, because it's at the end of the day, everyone's on the same team. The team is growth. So when I'm
Mhm.
seeing them butt heads, and having discrepancies in data and how things should work, where the sales isn't accepting the marketing leads and there's no trust, we really
Mhm.
just can't get to that single source of truth that attribution modeling needs to be. Um, so one of the things about attribution model now is the movement from marketing created and marketing sourced to now marketing influenced, knowing that you can use technology and use sales enablement to push the customer, the prospect, through the customer buyer journey. We can have um, triggers in the CRM that let the marketing team know, okay, they're in this stage, they should be getting X content. So they can be a player within the sales function and in the sales process. So the sales team doesn't have to do all of the heavy lifting. There is marketing content. Marketing teams spend all their time gathering case studies, product evangelists, building that community. And why not use them? Why not use all of those marketing engagements and content that has been built and push it through the buyer journey? So marketing attribution has been one of the biggest projects that I've noticed my clients finally wanting to adopt, but
Mhm.
then not even just stopping at marketing source. And there's so much more the marketing team does besides source leads. And then also, because everyone has budgetary constraints the past 2 years, is you need to figure out what works. And you need to use the data that you have and say, okay, are these programs successful? Are we hitting our KPIs? Or did we even break even, or did we lose money on these events? And now, because back to the show situation, these events matter, and spending money matters. So if you're not making money, or at least getting your goals met from the events, and you're not going in with goals, you can't actually return. You really shouldn't be wasting money. It's just not that climate anymore. So I've noticed a lot of marketing teams are like, we want the data now. We want to see what's performing, and we don't want to just already plan with what we should be doing and what our competitors are doing. We're going to plan, hey, these events and this webinar and buying this and taking X out to dinner, these are what's working for us. Everything else isn't. And I don't know why I'm spending my money on these
Mhm.
projects.
Mhm.
And I also think it's like, let's spend a little bit of money, see if it works, and then we can put more eggs in the basket. I think that's just been a trend, knowing that you have limited budget, and it's not to just sprinkle it around, not hone in on any specific strategy, and then have the numbers be like meh. So
Mhm.
like, I think data is finally being the player it needed to be. It needs to drive strategy, and it needs to truly change how marketing teams operate, and when to truly put effort and time and money into solutions.
Yeah, the right solutions specifically, because yeah, like you said, like if you're just throwing money at the problem or throwing money at different technologies, thinking it's going to be the magic solution that fixes everything, I mean, that's not how it works. And yeah, it's great that yeah, we're diving deeper into data. What data says, if the data says this type of content is working, double down, triple down, right? Go all in. But if it's not, then why spend?
Yeah, why keep going? Like, it clearly just pull back and go somewhere else. It's not working.
And yeah, also a great point about there's always that perceived tension between sales and marketing on the same team in the same business. Well, that's just kind of such a pervasive, I guess, idea. It's become like a meme type of thing where everyone laughs about, oh yeah, sales versus marketing, right? So how do we build better bridges between sales and marketing? What have you seen working, and how will those type of bridges improve lead scoring and just improve the general customer buyer journey?
And that is a conversation I've been having a lot with clients. I've been jumping in because I do have really strong opinions. First off, time and time over is sales says marketing isn't sending us quality leads. And the marketing team goes, okay, we have these MQLs, we send them over, and then they get rejected. And I'm like, what is going on here? We need to redefine what the MQL is for your company and your business and decide, does this make sense? And it's not just the marketing conversation, it's the sales conversation, because an MQL, marketing qualified lead, and an SAL, sales accepted lead, should be the same thing. Why do we have a different word for both? MQLs should be sales accepted leads. Why send them over and give them alert and make them work them if they're not actually sales accepted? So I think having two acronyms and having two versions of the same person, they don't make sense. And both teams need to work together to develop a process where, like, if we do all of these qualifications on the marketing end, you will agree to work the lead I sent over. You're not going to kick it back. You're not going to disqualify it. And that needs to be a handshake agreement. And not having them in the workshop together and not having both the teams deciding on when and how they work the leads that marketing sent over is a big miss. So that's the first thing, is just gaining the trust between sales and marketing, and sales truly trusting marketing's going to send you good leads, and then marketing trusting sales will work the leads we send over. And I think if you're not hosting a workshop with the key players on the sales and marketing team to build this agreement, you're doing something wrong. This should not be single-sided. This needs to be a joint agreement. Like I said earlier, yes, there are two different kinds of teams, but the true team is growth. It's a growth team. They're doing everything together. And if we're not treating them like they're the same team, it's not going to work. Another thing that's really important is sales enablement. If the marketing team isn't truly working with the sales team on telling them, these are the events we're doing, this is how we're presenting our product or our new feature release, or these are the target lists that we're trying to get at this event, and they're not joining in and being enabled to work with you, then that's also going wrong. At the end of the day, when the marketing team plans events, the sales reps are there. They're there selling, they're there talking, and they need to know first who's attending and how they can help. One of the best go-to-market initiatives is to talk about the events that you're having and have the sales also try to schedule meetings with the attendees. Try to get them before the event, do a nice little coffee chat before, get that in-person touch point, that it's not just one of those events where you shake hands and you walk away. You have like one conversation over a glass of wine and that was it. I think if we don't work together to truly make the most out of the events and the marketing budget, it's not going to work. And knowing that the sales also isn't enabled when marketing is spending money and hosting things is a true miss. And then that's like the BDR too. BDRs and inbound market, like sales reps, are truly the key to getting everything right when it comes to getting sales and marketing working together. BDRs can work on the list, book those meetings. And then they're also the right people to, when you cold call after an event and you're like, hey, you were there, this, and they don't have anything to talk about on the call or in the email, it's not a good look. They need to be enabled and they need to work with the marketing team because they can help a lot. They can get the most with that preparedness for events and book these meetings and be that middleman between sales and marketing, because they don't just work for sales. Yes, they need to get those meetings and get those opportunities open, but they also work for marketing, because at the end of the day, like most lead routing goes to BDRs, SDRs, and they're the first point of contact on the sales side. Well, they're the first human point of contact on every side. So they need to be ready to talk. They need to be enabled. They need to have the right things to talk about. And they could even send some marketing content over their ways. The BDR function isn't just prospecting and lead generation and outbound emails. It is very much, I work for marketing too. I receive those MQLs. I qualify them in a timely manner. They also need to work fast. And because at the end of the day, time kills deals. If you don't have the momentum, they'll go somewhere else. So working with the BDR, getting cadence ready, getting the right content ready, getting the right strategy of outreach can truly fix that disconnect, because they need to stand right in the middle. They're also the users of the technology. So having their imprint in Salesforce or CRM and how they interact with leads is really important because you can see what's open, what's closed, if there's an opportunity, how like the lead status, contact status, that using the campaigns. So they're also in Salesforce the most. So we can also use that knowledge and architect technology so we can put them in nurtures. And if they do kicked back, we put them in our churn list and then we give them other content. So the way they use CRM platforms also changes how the marketing team can use marketing automation platforms for the status of the contact.
Yeah, it's just like so interesting because BDRs, SDRs are right in the middle. They're building those bridges. Like they have to know, where leads are coming from, but then not just knowing, but like making the connection. They're the first point of connection, as you said, the first actual human making a call or doing a personal email and all of that. So yeah, definitely super important to have
Yeah.
them, but really getting everyone in the loop with
Yeah. And at
them.
the end of the day, I think this is one of those situations where people are exhausted from
Mm,
outbound emails and just shitty outreach. I think
mhm.
like if it's not good, I'm not really going to engage with it unless I actually need it or I'm the one that filled out the demo request. So if the BDR is the first human point of contact that this prospect gets, they need to be ready to talk and they need to be informed and they need to not just be meeting setters. They need to be part sales, part marketing,
Mhm.
and have that enablement.
So, for businesses that are thinking about their marketing approach, what factors should they consider when deciding between doing things in house or actually outsourcing to a consultant firm or marketing agency, just getting outside help? At what point should people, make that decision? And from your experience, what kind of unique perspectives you say would marketing agencies and firms bring to the table that in house teams just overlook or just don't know what they don't know?
Yes, interesting topic. And I have a few thoughts. Obviously, keeping things in house is great. If you have a well-oiled marketing team that is getting everything done and everyone's really happy and they're working together and you have the right solutions for your needs, why spend more money? But what I am seeing is that a lot of companies, because they have that limited headcount and that limited budget, they are exhausted and they're running ragged and they can't seem to finish projects. And outsourcing is becoming a really good solution because it doesn't count as headcount for hiring. It's cheaper because you don't have to pay the employee taxes, healthcare, and all of those other benefits. So if HR says, okay, you can only have this amount of headcount, it does leave room for getting help without actually using your marketing payroll budget. Another reason too is that one thing about working with the agency is that they do have experience and exposure amongst all different platforms, marketing tactics. They see a lot of ways marketing teams can be organized and function, and they're
Mhm.
seeing a lot more. Being in house, you do have your blinders on. You can take a webinar or further education, and you can get certified. But that's not everything all the time because you're still focusing in your one business use case. You're comfortable with what you know, you're comfortable with what you're seeing and who you're interacting with, and you see these unique problems to your business, but that can't function outside of your business. So you don't really know how to solution for any other problem according to what you've learned in in-house. That's one thing I also noticed, which is helped us mold Nomad, was when I first started. I would see some configurations in systems, and I'd ask the in-house marketing operations manager, "Why is it like this? Like, why this doesn't really make a lot of sense?" And like, "Oh, well, that's how we did at my previous company."
Mm.
So they're taking what they know from the previous company and applying it to their company that they just moved to. And the lifespan of a marketing operations manager, they probably like a career of 10 years, they probably see about 3 to 4 instances. Most people leave about like every 2.5 years. So they've been in that instance with that business use case. They move over, apply what they know to this instance. And that's not really how things should function.
Mm.
You should be getting the best solution for your needs, not the solution that that person only knows how to execute.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that could also apply to a lot of different job functions across the marketing team. So getting that outside opinion, getting that help is really important. And like back to the certification, you can do professional development, and that's great. But it's also like I have a driver's license, but if you ask me to parallel park a car in the middle of Manhattan or anywhere really, I don't think I could get it done. So it's also like, when do certifications matter versus real time support and help and how to really get problems done? I think agencies just can solve for different kinds of climates because they're trained on it and they get to see different, a lot of different perspectives and see how things function in other teams that people may not have exposure to. And like a final one too is technology marketing is really volatile. It's always changing. New things are coming up to date. Like new products are coming in, new strategies are coming in, just like how we talked about how ABM now is using intent data and really working on that personalization and that AI. And it's nice to get outside opinions with so many things change. And one thing that we do a lot when working with companies is being a sounding board. Does it make sense to add a new tool or do this strategy? And just having someone to speak to regarding what's out there and what are other companies doing? What's the right way to do something? Or should I be spending money here? Agencies get to see a lot of that, and they get to just advise on what they've experienced and seen. So not necessarily executing problems for you, but also just being a listening ear and giving you advice like, maybe I would refrain, or it doesn't seem worth the money or the spend to do something like that. That tool's exactly like the other tool. Why take it out and try another one? That doesn't make any sense. So I think it's also like agencies are really good at saving you money if you're working with the right ones. So that also is like making sure you trust them. I still have problems with clients that have been burned by agencies. The best thing I can recommend when you do work with an agency is get referrals first. Don't just jump in. Get referrals. Make sure that they're the right person for you, that they understand how to solve for your needs. And, always proceed with caution. I know I own an agency, but we just talked about how I spent 3 years of my time growing Nomad getting rid of a bad user experience across so many clients that did work with agencies that just blew through their budget. So get references, make sure that you do your due diligence. But at the end of the day, if all that checks out, agencies can be really helpful by offering that outside experience and perspective. And especially at Nomad, we spend our time mastering solutions so we can provide you with the best infrastructure and technology for your needs rather than how someone learned how to do it a few years ago.
So if our listeners want to get in touch with you or with Nomad, what's the best way to do that?
You can check out my LinkedIn. You can email me at ari@nomadmktg.com. You can go to nomadmarketing.com. Yeah, and say hello.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah, we'll include all those links and like different ways with this episode. So yeah, thank you so much, Arianna, for sitting down with us and just, sharing so many insights about what's changed in marketing, marketing sales and different ways we can like use intent data, maximize our budgets, all that good stuff. Yeah, it was great having you on.
This was so fun. I'm sweating because I was so nervous.
Totally okay. Totally real. Hey, we play it real. We play it authentic here. So totally fine. Yeah, so to our listeners, be sure to drop a comment with your thoughts on today's episode, like, subscribe, and share, all that good stuff. So your feedback is always appreciated and helps us bring you more valuable conversations. And for more about SiteJabber and our platform, Jabio, you can check out sitejabber.com/business, and we'll see you in the next Smart Customer Spotlight.